When Microsoft first announced their Surface headphones, they were a surprise to almost everyone. And like I said in the initial review, the Surface headphones were a really good first try on Microsoft's part. But ultimately, when it came down to choosing between these $350 headphones, or these $350 headphones, or these $350 headphones, I'm gonna say get the Sony 1000 XM3s all day, unless you really need to have those super spacious ear cups and loose fit, then get yourself the Bose QC35s. But now it looks like the Surface headphones have gotten a permanent $100 discount, and at $250, the Surface headphones make a very compelling argument. Now, I do think it's very likely that we'll see a Surface Headphones 2 later on in the fall, but if you're thinking about picking these guys up, here's how they stack up against everybody's favorite Sony 1000 XM3s and the old man Bose QC35s. And if you want to pick any of the headphones up mentioned in this video, those will be linked down below. Now first, let's go over design, fit, and build quality. The Surface headphones design has proven to be rather polarizing, but personally I like how the Surface headphones look. They're a style piece all by themselves. But what's important to keep in mind here is that the Surface headphones are very low profile, just like the Sony 1000 XM3s, which is great. But when it comes to fit, the Surface headphones are the most snug fitting headphones here. They're still big head approved because I can wear them for hours on end, but if you're looking for a looser fit, then you'll be better off with the 1000 XM3s, or if you want a really loose fit, then you'll be better off with the Bose. But when it comes to the ear cups themselves, the Surface headphones are rather spacious. They're more spacious than the 1000 XM3s, but they're definitely not as spacious as the Bose QC35s. But overall, I do think the Surface headphones will have no problem fitting most people out there. Now, when it comes to the build quality of the Surface headphones, it's actually very good. Even though these headphones are mostly plastic, there's a very satisfying click to them whenever you expand the headband. There's zero cracking and squeaking whenever you flex the headphones, and the leatherette used on the ear cups themselves feel almost as good as the leatherette used on the Bose QC35s. The only design/build quality drawback on the Surface headphones is that they can only be laid down flat and not collapse like the Sonys or Bose. This thus directly affects the size of the Surface headphones carrying case. Now, don't get me wrong, the Surface headphones come included with a very good quality carrying case, but it's much larger than Bose's carrying case and Sony's carrying case. And I want to point this out for the people who plan on traveling a lot with their ANC headphones. Personally, I think the smaller my headphones can collapse, the better, especially if I'm trying to cram them into an already overpacked backpack. But now, let's get into tech specs. The Surface headphones' biggest weakness has got to be their battery life. These headphones only have a 15-hour battery life on a full charge, and a 15-hour battery life on a pair of $350 or $250 headphones is way below average for 2019. These are a pair of headphones you're going to have to charge almost every week, if not more, depending on your usage. But at least these headphones charge via a USB-C port, which means if you're an Android user, at least you can charge your headphones and phone with the same cable. Because for comparison, the Bose QC35s have an advertised battery life of 20 hours, slightly better than the Surface headphones, but the Sony 1000 XM3s have an advertised battery life of 30 hours, so I can usually go about 2 weeks in between charges with these headphones. So definitely, if Microsoft is working on a pair of Surface headphones too, they really got to focus on battery life, because whenever somebody's buying any electronic, one of the main things they're looking at is battery life. But something the Surface headphones do get right is their Bluetooth connectivity. These headphones can be connected to 2 devices at the same time, just like the Bose, which means you can easily hot swap from your phone to your computer. And it's important to point this out because Sony's headphones can only be connected to 1 device at a time. Now, ultimately, this isn't a huge deal, but I do feel any power users watching this might be interested in a pair of headphones that have simultaneous multi-device connectivity. And if that's the case, then the Surface headphones get a thumbs up. But more importantly, whether you're an iPhone user or Android user, these headphones have zero latency across the board whenever you're watching videos. Now, when it comes to the active noise cancellation on the Surface headphones, again, it's also very good. Unlike the active noise cancellation on the Bose QC35s, that does cause a considerable amount of cabin pressure, which as a result ends up giving me headaches, the Surface headphones have very little to no cabin pressure, just like the Sony 1000 XM3s. Like you may have just seen, the Sony 1000 XM3s managed to block out the most amount of noise here across the board, whereas the Surface headphones and Bose QC35s managed to block out relatively the same amount of noise. But like I mentioned earlier, the reason why I think the active noise cancellation on the Surface headphones is better than the Bose QC35s is because they have nowhere near as much cabin pressure as the Bose, and they don't cause me any headaches. And the Surface headphones also do a much better job of rejecting wind noise when used outdoors compared to the Bose. And unlike the Bose, the Surface headphones also have an ambient mode. So if you want, you can have the headphones pump in all of the surrounding sound around you so you can still be aware of your environment when you're using your headphones. Having an ambient mode on your headphones is great because you can still hear for oncoming traffic if you're walking around the city, or if you're at home or at the office, you can still hear when someone calls your name. And just like the Sonys, the ambient mode on the Surface headphones has been properly implemented, meaning that they don't have an audible hiss when ambient mode is turned on, which is good for when you're watching movies and the scene is quiet, and the ambient mode on the Surface headphones is smart enough to block out random loud noises like a dog barking or if a siren passes by, just like the Sonys. So even though ambient modes are becoming increasingly more popular on premium ANC headphones, not all ambient modes are properly implemented. Like, let's say the most recent example that comes to mind is the Jabra Elite 85Hs. But something the Surface headphones have that neither of these headphones do is built-in proximity sensors. So whenever you take these headphones off, they'll automatically pause your music, and when you put them back on, they'll start playing music again. Now, personally, I don't care for this feature, but it is properly implemented in the sense that these headphones aren't going to start randomly playing and pausing your music when you're walking around with them on, like some other headphones do. Now, when it comes to listening to music with these headphones, since they have an adjustable EQ, you can make them sound however you want, depending on the type of music you listen to. But when it comes to instrument separation and clarity, I do have to say the Surface headphones aren't as good as the Bose or Sony. Now, don't get me wrong, the Surface headphones don't sound bad, but if you're looking for audio fidelity, then you'll be better off with the Sonys. But if you're looking for lots and lots of bass, then the Surface headphones are going to have way more kick to them than the Sonys, even when clear bass on the Sonys is cranked all the way up, and they're going to have way more bass than the Bose, because the Bose QC35s have a neutral sound signature that you can't change as easily. But when it comes to controlling music playback, the Surface headphones have a very unique setup compared to the Sony and Bose headphones. Both ear cups have dials. The left dial is used to control your headphones ANC levels, and the right dial is used to adjust your volume. And in the center of both ear cups, there's a touchpad. Single tapping will play or pause your music, double tapping skips a track, and triple tapping goes back a track. Just like the touch controls on the 1000 XM3s, there is a learning curve, but overall the controls on the Surface headphones are super easy to use. Now, over the last few months, voice assistants have been making a big push on headphones, specifically with Always Listening Siri on both the new Powerbeats Pro and AirPods 2, and both the Sony 1000 XM3 and Bose QC35 Series 2 have both Google Assistant and Alexa integration. Now, even though the Surface headphones also have voice assistant support, they rely solely on Cortana, And in short, I never really used Cortana because Cortana sucks. And I do think that the majority of people who end up picking up the Surface headphones will rarely even use Cortana. So that's why I'm even going to spare you guys from the Cortana demo. But when it comes to the microphone on the Surface headphones, is actually pretty decent for phone calls. It's definitely much better than the microphone found on the Sony 1000 XM3s, which does sound very muffled. But I do think the microphone on the Bose QC35s is slightly better. But overall, I do think the microphone on the Surface headphones is decent enough for phone calls, but there's definitely still some room for improvement. But overall, for $250, I think the Surface headphones make a very compelling argument. They fit well and they have a very decent build quality. They support multi-device connectivity, which is great for power users, and they're great for watching videos on your phone, which is great for everyone else. They sound decent enough and their active noise cancellation is almost as good as the Sony's, but more importantly, their active noise cancellation doesn't cause any headaches like the Bose QC35s, and they also have a properly implemented ambient mode. The only major hit you're going to be taking with these headphones is their subpar battery life and pretty large carrying case. But if you're looking for a pair of very good ANC headphones, and if you're also looking for a deal, then I would definitely take the Surface headphones into consideration. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.